Nice long walk means more videos. This is gonna be quick, but what I was thinking about is something that I really needed to expand upon. I've talked a lot about men, things that we go through as men, things that we miss as men, right? Well, about a month ago or so, maybe a little over a month, I got on Prozac. I got on 10 milligrams of Prozac, which is about the lowest dose someone my size can be on for it to have any kind of effect. Prozac also has a pretty strong half-life, so it tends to stay in the system a little bit better, right? But I have noticed the difference in my ability to manage myself. Now, I've been getting better sleep. I've been walking pretty consistently, so I've been using a lot of good self-care routines, right? So good sleep hygiene, a lot of sunlight, vitamin D, physical activity, starting to organize myself better, but that's also a product of those things. So also a little THC here and there to help lower some of the anxiety and just relax my mind, enhance my creativity a little bit too. All of that with 10 milligrams of Prozac, it's changed my relationship with anxiety and depression. I feel stronger and more alert than I have probably ever. And I'm 40 years old with an almost 7-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, right? So I'm feeling good. But you know what happened? Yesterday, I did not take my Prozac. I forgot. And I was on edge by the end of the day, y'all. I got a lot done because I've been having these good coping mechanisms. I actually didn't end up walking yesterday, but that was because it was pouring, torrential downpour. So I did some strength exercises, some push-ups, some pull-ups, sit-ups, a little bit of squats, right? But I was on edge by the end of the night. Love my wife, like my wife. Marriage is very tough, y'all. That's the reality, okay? We're doing good at this point in time. Happily married, okay? I am happily married. But we all irritate each other, okay? Marriage, if you're in marriage, you're gonna irritate each other, right? And the way that she was communicating yesterday, I was on edge. I was an angrier version of myself, which has honestly been a more typical version of myself. Reminds me a lot of the men I grew up with. So what that taught me is that Prozac makes a difference. It's only 10 milligrams. It also is helping to confirm my theory of men. Anxiety and depression affect us a lot more than we think. Anxiety and depression have a reciprocal, symbiotic relationship. They feed off of each other. Anxiety can feed into depression. Depression can feed into anxiety. So for some reason, the triggers to my depression looks like anxiety. And that anxiety looks like frustration that people aren't thinking the same way that I'm thinking, right? That people aren't as crisp with their words, even though I'm honestly not as crisp with my words as I think I am, but still like correcting themselves and thinking about the linguistics of their speech a little bit more. And that really starts to grade me. I get irritated when people aren't keeping up with the conversation. I gotta slow down, right? And honestly, y'all, that's ableism. That's ableism on my part. I have a really, really really good long-term memory. It's exceptionally strong, all right? I don't have a true photographic memory, but there's always grades to everything. My first memory is from when I was 1 year old, and like my consistent memories started popping up when I was sometime around 2, right? 2.5, something like that, right? And so I find it weird when I talk to most people and they don't really have a lot of memories of their childhood until they're like 6 and 8 and stuff. And it's sad to me. Like, I'm not saying they are sad. It feels sad to me because I remember so much about my early life and it shapes who I am now. And so it feels like if that happened to me, I just lose a part of me, right? That's why things like dementia and Alzheimer's scare me. And they do run in the family too. It scares me. It's one of the reasons why I'm working on getting healthy at 40. It's important, y'all. We got to take care of our minds and our bodies. They are systems. They work together. So anyway, for me, my anxiety looks like anger. It looks like frustration. And the more it builds up, the more it creates depression, because you start thinking about things and thinking about how messed up things are, how frustrating things are. Then you start feeling hopeless. You feel helpless. All these things, you just can't do it. And then depression kicks in. So what I'm gonna tell y'all, a lot of y'all men don't realize that anger y'all have, that rage that you have, especially brothers. I'm not saying there's something wrong with us. I'm saying that the odd mix of racism and our aspects of being a man and those attacks that we have on black men, because we can't operate under the radar. We got to operate on top of the radar. We are always tracked. We are always observed because there's fear around black men. They view us as threats, right? A lot of us need to take some anxiety meds, some depression meds, because they would help. They would help us. They would help the people we love deal with us. It's not weak. You need coping mechanisms. These medications are tools to help lower the symptoms you're experiencing so you can develop your healthy coping mechanisms. The pressure of capitalism, this busyness that we have in our world, especially here in the US, go, 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 grind, 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 grind. You gotta bank the next bill. You gotta do this. We gotta level up. You need a car by this point. You need a house of this size by that point. That prevents us from really thinking about ourselves, really working on developing good hobbies that are reflections of good coping mechanisms, practices of mindfulness, of rest, of self-care, anxiety medications, depression medications, some other types, even Adderall, ADHD medications. They help to reduce those symptoms so that we can implement healthy coping mechanisms. All right, fellas, walking is one of mine. I'm hitting the end of this 7-mile walk. Y'all got this. We got this. All right, keep walking.